Why do some students study for hours and still forget everything on exam day, where others seem to remember pretty much everything without much effort? Well, it all comes down to one thing: active recall. Let me show you how it works and how to use it. Active recall is when you test yourself instead of just passively going over the information again and again. So I want you to imagine you have your anatomy atlas, and let's say you're studying your muscles. And if you were to passively study, you'd just be going over the information again and again and again, right? You're just looking at the page and just scanning it repeatedly. And that is a way to study. It's just not a good one. What if instead you closed your atlas, looked into the corner of the room, and then tried to remember the muscle attachments using the depths of your brain, right? Like passive recall, that's more about just recognizing words. Like imagine you just have the exam in front of you, you recognize a word, and then you depend on that feeling familiar to you. But active recall is more about retrieving information from deep inside of the brain, right? You have to jump into the brain, you have to find where it's at, and then you have to bring it out and go from there. So the question you may have is, well, what's happening in the brain during this whole process? So once again, let's imagine you have your Kenhub atlas open and you are looking at a page that has the humerus on it. And as you're scanning over it, you're going to see a whole lot of information, right? The bone itself, you're going to see all the bony landmarks. What's happening is you're starting to put that information together. You're encoding it in what's called your working memory. And that's going to happen in an area called the prefrontal cortex, which is the more newly evolved area of the human brain. Here's the thing though, working memory only lasts for about 15 to 30 seconds. So from there, you're going to move it to the hippocampus, which belongs to the limbic system. And that's a more ancient part of the brain. But then it's going to distribute that information out throughout the brain so then it can be stored in what we call long-term memory. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because as I'm sitting here looking and studying the humerus right now, there's a whole lot more to the memory than what I'm looking at here in the atlas. I'm remembering the feel of this chair, the lights, the actual smells inside of my office here. What's happening is I'm not just creating a memory of the humerus, I'm associating every bit of this moment with the humerus right now, and it's creating a holistic memory. You're really only using one neural pathway, more or less, to form that memory. And this is why routines can be so problematic for you. I want you to imagine, you may not have to imagine very hard, that you have a study spot, right? You go there at the same time after class or maybe after work. You get the same coffee, the same snacks. Everything is built around comfort. Well, it makes sense that you're going to feel very confident in that moment because you're just reinforcing that neural pathway that initially was involved in that forging of the memory. But you know what can interfere with retrieving information from that pathway? Stress. And you know what is one of the most extremely stressful situations you're going to encounter in school? Exams. This is why active recall is so powerful. When you close that atlas and put it down, you no longer have that same tactile information, the same visual information. And what that means is you can't really depend on that same neural pathway. If you are studying in a different room at a different time, different snacks, when you are changing the environment, you're essentially creating a new memory. And this is going to be very powerful for you because when you have all of these different memories, but they have one unifying thing, and in this instance, it would have been the humerus, all of a sudden you can start leaning on these different memories in stressful times. This is why it's not just about how much you study, it's about how you study, where you study, and the circumstances in which you're studying. You need to be studying in as many different places and situations as you possibly can. I want you to think about how this works. So the first time you typically make the memory, right? You're creating that initial memory is going to be in the classroom typically, right? Where your professor's saying something or possibly you're reading it in a textbook or atlas. Okay, that's the first exposure. The second exposure is when you first study it. So maybe in your dorm room, maybe in your house, maybe you're at the library. Doesn't really matter, but that is the second time. So now you have two memories and they're building on top of each other. But then let's say you get a blank piece of paper and you decide that you're going to write it down. So then you're engaging your motor pathway, right? You're retrieving the information and then you're having to use spatial reasoning and your motor pathways to be able to put that information down. Let's say you're using flashcards. If you have flashcards, you can use those everywhere. This is the power of flashcards. It's not the repetition as much as it's how you can use those in different places. You could be in the bus, the laundromat, the subway. It doesn't really matter. All of these are creating different memories, and you are cueing the retrieval of that information differently. Now, if you're wondering how you can actually do this without reinventing the wheel every single time, this is exactly why we built Kenhub the way we did. We take that same anatomical information and we give it to you in different mediums. So you have quizzes, atlas illustrations, articles, cross-sectional anatomy. Every single time you engage with that information in a different place on the platform, it's creating a new neural pathway to that information. What this does is it stress-proofs the information. You're having all of these different memories that get consolidated into one understanding, like this deep, intimate understanding. I will preach this to the end of my days, that the best way to truly understand something is to teach it. I'm not saying you should be teaching things you haven't learned. What I'm saying here is the act of having to say it to different people in different times, in different situations, in different ways, what it does is it creates this just genuine and sincere relationship with the information. And it's just this consolidated thing because the information is now distributed throughout the cortex of your brain. It's so much easier to retrieve. It's a very durable form of learning. So what are all the different ways that you can utilize active recall? Well, first and foremost, there's flashcards. And I can already hear some of you out there saying, I'm not a flashcard person. I get it. Remember though, this is not about being a flashcard person. This is more about the convenience of flashcards. You can utilize them pretty much anywhere, right? Again, you could be at the park. You could be in the most crowded theater ever and you could still be doing it and not disturbing anybody. The point about it is more about the situations. They definitely have their drawbacks, but just consider that you can do it pretty much anywhere. And you could do it digitally with say like Anki, or you could make like your own physical flashcards. That works great. Another big one is just getting a blank piece of paper. So imagine you have your atlas, you read the information, you close your atlas, you take the blank piece of paper, and then you start writing it down, like as much as you can possibly remember, and maybe even try drawing it. And it doesn't have to be a great drawing either. It's just you out there trying to put the information down there. And then like remember, it's not really about accuracy. I mean, obviously we want accuracy. You should be checking your answers as you're going along with this. The goal here is about creating new neural pathways that you can stress-proof this information. You then have test questions, and this is the value of Kenhub. We have thousands of test and exam questions that we also use spaced repetition, which is active recall on steroids. This is where we are forcing you to retrieve the information, but we space it out. We ask the same question just in slightly different ways, and then we give some distance between the questions, and it is phenomenal. It is one of the best ways you can possibly learn information. When you're getting started with this, you don't need to do too much all at once. Just start small, right? It could be like 5 minutes when you wake up. It could be, when you're in the shower. It could be when you're just on your way to class, just running through things in your mind or with your flashcards or whatever it may be. The point here is though, it needs to be done every single day. If you're only doing this a couple times, you're not going to get the value. This really starts to have a compounding effect. The more you do, the better it is going to be. But if you want to just take this to the next level, that is where you start doing what's called the Feynman technique. This was named after the famed physicist Richard Feynman, and I've been doing this for years, and I can attest to its power. So basically, think of it like this. Let's imagine you're feeling pretty good with it. Like, I got this. I know what I'm talking about. Well, could you explain it to a 10-year-old? Could you explain it to a 5-year-old? Could you explain it to an engineering student? How about a chef, right? Or someone who's so far removed from the subject matter itself. Could you explain it to them in a way that actually makes sense? This is the Feynman technique, and I can promise you this is a game changer. It's really difficult to do at first, but it gets easier the more reps you put into this. And before you know it, exams they're not really challenging to you in the same way. I'm not saying they're easy. My point is more so like it's just far more approachable, almost anything can become very approachable. So I couldn't recommend this more. Now, if you want to dive deeper into even more study strategies, we put a link to a comprehensive Kenhub article down in the description below. It's filled with all of our best study tips, so be sure to check that out. And while you're down there, be sure to like this video, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and leave us a comment letting us know which active recall method you're going to be trying first. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.